What is up, my Gaggle of Geeks, and welcome to tonight's episode. We're going to be talking about a bevy of things. Chaz, how is it going, man?
Oh, man, it's going, dude.
Hey, my background looks different.
It does.
My background's different.
Especially from 10 minutes ago.
It's because I just spent 15 minutes rage screaming throughout my house trying to get the setup to work. But unfortunately, Amazon cables just don't seem to be super reliable. So right now, we're doing it from this room because up there is way too hot. So I had to move my desk. I had to move all this kind of crap. But I am excited to talk about some stuff. How's your week been, man? It's Friday.
It's Friday. It's been busy, but it's Friday. Dude, we have stuff to talk. Yeah, we have stuff to talk about. Like,
yeah.
I think yesterday and today's stuff, like that happened with stuff. Like, I was very much looking forward to this week, the end of the week. So I'm excited.
What a crazy week it's been. Like, we're going to be talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Zack Snyder's Justice League. And oh my God, I'm so excited to talk to you about Zack Snyder's Justice League. You have no idea.
Real quick, before we dive into any of that, I just want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
How was South by Southwest?
South by Southwest was
not as smooth as Sundance.
Not my favorite. I'll be real. Like, we could be real on the show, right? No one's listening to this. Nobody's listening to Gaggle of Geeks. I think that they really sucked when it came to registering and setting up their things. Like, I had no idea, A, that I could go back and watch any of the films if I wanted to. B, you had to be there right there to RSVP and register for everything. So they forced you to show up online and wait in the queue. And from there, you're like, the whole system crashed. Nobody could register for anything. So everybody was sitting there in the chat like, what's going on? And the rest of the whole thing has just been, I don't know, like, you could watch the films, you move to the next thing. So I did 5 each day. And then I just kept seeing more people were watching more stuff. It's like, how are you guys still watching stuff? It turns out you can go back and look at the other movies too. So it's like, well, fuck. And then so the Snyder Cut comes out, and then I've got to deal with the Snyder Cut stuff. So Snyder Cut took over everything. Let's be honest. Snyder Cut took over absolutely everything. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out. Like, I feel like I did a week of like intense work for absolutely nobody to look at. I know, man. I made videos and I wrote reviews, both same time.
So not as much traffic as
like kicking
Sundance
both my shins.
Or...
Oh no, not a little bit even. Demi Lovato like a couple hundred views, but other than that, I mean, I did get to see a couple good movies. The movies even weren't really as good as what you could get from. Yeah. I don't know how to get out of this. We're going to press that so many times.
Dude, okay, well, let's dive into our first segment then.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, yes, because we've only got about 15 minutes before our guests show up and we get into the big stuff. By the way, I like your face. You shaved.
I did shave. Thanks for noticing.
Why'd you shave? Were you like new vax? Who dis?
No. New
vaccine. Who dis?
The beginning of March. Here's a story. Just a real quick 1 minute story. I drunkenly shaved mutton chops, like the friendly mutton chops. But
I remember the mutton chops.
Yeah, I did too short. But then here's the thing. The sideburns were coming in. The mustache was coming in. I'm like, oh yeah. Then I kept shaving the chin, but it just got too much work. And like the way my hair was growing, like it just looked super patchy. And I'm like, oh fuck, this is gross. So I full on, dude, just like did a shave. I'm like starting over, and my beard come back.
What was the biggest change that you went, oh crap, that's new, after you, of course, shaved? Where you're just like, whoa,
oh dude,
face Chaz is entered the room.
There's that, but I forget I have dimples. I also have a small cleft chin too. So like when I actually shaved like just the chin part when I was drunk, I'm like, yo, who's that little chin dude right there? Like, but,
yeah.
It's March. It's in quarantine. I'm like, nobody's gonna see me. I'm wearing a mask outside anyway. So it was fun while it lasted, but it definitely nobody was doing it with me because there's a mustache march, but nobody was like, dude, mutton chop march is not a thing apparently. So
Because it's not. I'm one of those people that absolutely did not want
and
to.
I tried to convince you to do it. That's right. Yep.
And moving on, moving the hell on to our next story, which is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Dude, you saw the first episode. It just dropped on Disney Plus today. WandaVision drought's over. It didn't take too long. What do you think of Falcon and the Winter Soldier? And was it as Falcon-y and Winter Soldier as you'd hoped it would be?
It's a lot more serious and a little bit more dark, which I really liked because it sidesteps WandaVision's little style that it had going. This is more focused. It was a lot more sharp looking and just straightforward, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
The beginning, for me personally, the beginning kind of took a bit to kind of hook you, but once it kind of sets it up by the end with both characters, I'm curious where it's going to go. I'm really curious because it's only like 6 episodes they have scheduled supposedly. So I'm just like, oh, okay. I wonder how it's going to play off. But then I also, after watching Justice League, I'm like, why didn't they just do a 6-hour movie?
Yeah,
that was my thought watching this. But yeah.
Well, it tees off with a very familiar. In fact, they just blatantly reused the same characters from the Winter Soldier. Falcon is in a airplane going to execute a mission. They're going after the dude that Captain America fought in the first Winter Soldier. That one guy that's like parkour, and then Captain America is like, "Oh, okay, parkour," and then they just start dance fighting each other. So he's back. I don't know. It's those kind of things where it's like, I get that that's fun, like a fun connected universe thing, but I don't need that. You don't need to bring back cast member number 3 that was an Ant-Man on the sidewalk. Remember, she was there.
Yeah. And I guess that's what I kind of mean. Like, it kind of took a while for it to hook, So far, I liked how they were setting up Falcon. He kind of has this huge ego, like he's a superhero, right? Like he's trying to ride off that success. He's kind of
an ego because he gives up the shield.
He does give up the shield, but it's also kind of he's kind of Tony Stark, where he wants people to recognize him, Whereas the Winter Soldier is Bucky, like he's very much the complete opposite, where he wants to hide, but he's forced to face his own identity essentially. So it's a really nice balance and contrast that they have going on, and I'm really curious to see how they play with that later on.
I like that Bucky is going down kind of the PTSD and kind of I don't know why this first came to mind, but you remember Billy Madison, Steve Buscemi's character, marking off the names with lipstick after he puts it on him. He's kind of going through that, but it's not to like take him out. It's to basically like make amends with what's been going on and the people that he killed and all that stuff. It's really heartbreaking. Like he puts himself through a lot of stuff. Him talking to the therapist, just super like, I don't care. I don't want to talk to you about any of this.
Pulls out a notebook and he's like, really? That's passive aggressive.
Do you know who he reminds me of a little? Did you watch the BBC Sherlock?
I watched the first season when it first came out. So, I mean, how long ago was that? Like 10 years almost?
It's quite a while. But Martin Freeman plays Watson.
Right.
And Watson kind of has PTSD coming back from the war in Afghanistan. I think they do a lot with that kind of familiarity with this. So I like Bucky. I think there's going to be a lot to do with him. You got Falcon's family showing up.
Yep.
And that's New Orleans. So they're...
Yeah, and I loved his relationship with his sister that we kind of see. It very much reminded me.
That could sound gross if you say that.
Oh no, I just mean because he comes in there and then they have
not a Star Wars relationship, folks.
No. It's like she's going through financial hardship, and like the blip plays a huge thing with it, like the 5 years and like some laws have changed and all that. But it's kind of like a nice commentary on the government, but with like helping vets essentially, because like he was or is an Avenger of some sort. And he's like, well, I saved the world, but you can't, help us out financially. Well, there's this new law with the blip. And it's just like, dude, America would totally fuck over their people like that.
Yeah, kind of. And there's a lot of stuff about like the people that feel that things were better when the blip had happened. And like, it's kind of crazy, the world that they're in and the familiarities that we're in. And, you're right. For the rest of the show, it goes pretty slow. It's a lot more dialogue-driven stuff. There's like a big opening action sequence at the beginning with Falcon that's pretty fun. And from there, It's just a lot of character building, which isn't a bad thing, but we don't get a lot of progression into story until the last like minute or two, where it's revealed that they are bringing in a new Captain America, and they're using the shield using the shield that he gave away. And we need to talk about the really good scene between him and Don Cheadle after he gives up the shield, and War Machine shows up at Rhodes and is like, "Carol, let's talk for a little bit." And basically he's like, "Are you okay? Like that was a cool thing you did, but optics and things."
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing too. I recently watched an interview with is his name Anthony Mackie, the actor for the Falcon.
Yeah.
It was I think it was at Salt Lake's Comic-Con a few years ago. And he was basically talking about how Captain America can be replaced, but he should not be replaced, because then whoever replaces him has to fill another role. Like let's say that the Falcon or Bucky becomes Captain America in the movies. Well, who's going to become the new Bucky? Who's going to become the new Falcon, right? And this episode reminded me a lot of that, because like he is letting that shield go. Like he's irreplaceable, but he still have to be our own characters,
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it.
It's a big thing that everybody keeps arguing up with, like, for instance, this new Superman stuff with J.J. Abrams. Why do we need a new Clark Kent black Superman? Why can't there just be a new character that's a black character that can stand on its own and be just as impactful? Or even use characters that are in Superman's lore? Because I do believe that there is a black Superman in there, but I don't think it's Clark Kent. I think it's a different character.
Yeah. But, it kind of goes back to Star Wars, where she's Rey Skywalker. Anybody could be a Skywalker.
Yeah. Anybody could pick up the shield. I like the little theories of, like, did you put him on the moon? Like, what? Okay.
It was fun. But here's my complaint so far, though, because it is slow. And like I said, didn't hook you till the very beginning, or toward the end, is that these two characters are side characters in the movies. Like, they don't really have their own, like, they have their own arcs, but they don't have their the most impact to the story, right? Like, they're just there. Yeah. They still kind of felt like that in this episode. And so even the side characters that are introduced, like the conspiracy guy that's helping the Falcon out, right? Like he feels on the same level as they do, where it's not important enough yet. And granted, it's the first episode, so I'm definitely giving this a chance. But I'm digging this more than I dug WandaVision's first episode. So.
Oh, okay. So, but here's the difference. Like, when critics were given that, they were given the first 3 episodes. With this one, we're only given the first one.
Okay, so you've only seen this one, right?
Yeah, we've not seen anything more than that. Maybe that's another reason why it's like, because we just haven't gone through enough content the same as with WandaVision. But I do like Anthony Mackie. I'm excited to see where it's going, and I think it's already a longer episode each time, is it not?
I believe this one's like 52 minutes, and they don't have, like, the credits don't take up 7 minutes like WandaVision. Like, these credits are relatively quick. That's what I'm saying. It's very quick paced, very straightforward. There's no BS to be pulled. It's just here's what we have planned. Boom. I don't know, because I didn't get any sense that they're going to connect yet. I mean, they kind of mentioned that, like, oh, you've called the Falcon Reverend his therapist session, right? Yeah, it's kind of like a glance, but like they don't really give you how they're setting them up to like be the Falcon and the Winter Soldier together,
Gotcha.
I don't know if that's in the comic books, but
I am excited to see how they have to meet back up together, why they have to work together on something, and then all of the buddy cop stuff. Like I'm pretty sure you're going to see all of that stuff happen if the pacing's going the way that it's going. Maybe episode 3. Maybe episode 3 will be like the big, where it's like this next one is going to be the setup as to why they now need to come together. I'm betting we're going to get our Zemo, Baron Zemo, so we're going to see him and exactly what he's doing. It seems like his whole intention now is just like get rid of superheroes. Like, I don't want superheroes. So I don't know. Not as strong a motivation as Civil War. They're just like, now I just don't like any of you. You freaking suck.
Yeah. And I will say, I was kind of like with the chase sequence in the beginning, like with the in and out and stuff. I wasn't impressed by that necessarily. Like, it didn't hook me. And I know it was supposed to hook you, like fun and exciting, but to me, it was just like, oh, it's just Marvel being Marvel, I guess. But the more dialogue driven it is, the more character heavy it is in a sense for me. And like, I appreciate those more than I do the action themselves. Does that make sense? If they have cool action sequences, like I know, like in Daredevil, for example, like the one shotter, in the hallways and stuff, like the oneers. But like if they don't use those like over the toply, I guess, like I'm curious to see where they go with this. So far I'm hooked.
Do you think Baron Zemo is going to be good? Did you like him in Civil War? Or was he kind of just like he's the villain, but we're talking about other stuff right now? How do you think they're going to bridge that gap?
I don't know. And I personally, the villain that they kind of show in this first episode, the antagonist, right? Like the masked dude, reminds me a lot of the Winter Soldier. So I wonder if this is more of Bucky's enemy than it is the Falcons.
Oh, it totally is. Well, because he has the journal still, does he not? Or I believe somewhere is the journal that when you say 5 of Marvel's upcoming MCU titles in the name, you might find out that he'll go evil and try to kill everybody. Do you think Old Man Steve will show up? Oh, well, there was a little Easter egg when they were doing Bucky's journal in Winter Soldier. No, Civil War, my mistake. Where they were saying like Brezhnikov, and one of them was Homecoming.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and that was Civil War when Spider-Man was introduced. So it stands to reason that they knew the name of whatever movie they were going to do.
Oh, that's cool.
See any other Avengers showing up?
I mean, we did see War Machine show up.
Mm-hmm. We didn't expect that, and no one's really talked about it, right? Everybody's like, "Hell yeah, Evan Peters," and then Don Cheadle like,
"Yeah." I don't know, man. I hope they introduce somebody new that they could throw into a movie, maybe. But right now, I kind of hope they don't, because I really want these two characters to shine on their own and not have to have these other characters carry them, because that's what they were doing in the movies. Like they had other characters carry them. Like with Bucky, he had Steve Rogers, right? So like it would be nice for him to actually shine on his own and actually show, like, if anything, I could see something with Wakanda showing up with him, because he did mention that with his therapist, about how he felt peace there. But it wasn't like long enough or enough, because it's battle to battle, like you said, PTSD, like always on the go. So it'd be nice if they just both kind of lifted each other up and not have to have other superheroes be there to meddle it out.
Mm-hmm. I know that Sharon Carter is going to show up. No, not Sharon. Yeah, it is Sharon, not Peggy Carter, but Sharon Carter, the one that was a roommate in Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Or the neighbor. So what's to stop this from just being straight up Hobbs and Shaw?
Who knows, man?
Marvel.
Here's my other question. Like, and it goes back to WandaVision, because I brought this up. Like, why can you not just do a movie with these characters, and why does that have to be a TV show? Like, what benefit do we get from it being a TV show?
Well, we're starting to find that out with WandaVision and with this. Like, we do get more runtime, absolutely. We get way more character development. Like, there's no way Wanda in her screen time for all of these films barely gets anything. Like, she shows up, does a couple things, becomes the ex machina to get the heroes out of a situation, and then she's out.
Because I can see
the real heat of it. They dismiss her.
Well, I mean, I could see her movie, if they did do a movie with her solo, be kind of like Doctor Strange, where it does explore a lot more of her past and like whatever.
Well, that's where they will go.
That's right, and that's where the show did not go, and so it was kind of like, what was the point? And that just comes back to like, well, what's the point then? Like, why could it not be a movie? Like, why are they just doing TV shows? But I mean, for this, it works if they're doing more character driven. Like, I'm totally for it. So,
well, I like his wings.
His wings
are another
cool,
thing I can say, because we're stalling, because there's literally like 1 minute left before our guests join in, and it is going to be a big thing to talk about. Was there any other news that came out this week? Anything big? I mean, South by Southwest, for all intents and purposes, if Snyder Cut and Falcon did not come out, it would be big. Like, a lot of people would be talking about it.
I feel like a lot of the film festivals have just been kind of like,
Sundance, I loved, man. I had such a good time at Sundance, but this one just kind of felt like more of a, I don't know. I think it's because South by Southwest is not necessarily just a film festival. It's a music festival. It's 500 different things. And you kind of feel like that. You're like, okay, I'm in the film festival, which is not the most important priority from what it feels like.
Right.
So that's all. Not to say that being able to watch stuff wasn't an issue or anything like that. It was just fine. I was able to watch everything. And again, as far as streamlined, if this were something that was trending in South by Southwest, oh my gosh, I would have got so many views. Why did streamlined? It was ridiculous.
Now here's another question: why didn't Warner Brothers wait to premiere Snyder Cut at South by Southwest and draw more attention there?
Is that how we're starting this?
No.
Why are we starting it that way? Oh my goodness! Guess who's arrived? It's Jay. Jay is he's the guy I wanna lay. Is that right? No? Okay, I don't know.
Hello?
Hi.
Nope, we can kind of hear him. What's up, Jay? How's it going, man?
Hey, how you guys
Good.
doing? Sorry, I was trying to get my settings right. I couldn't hear anybody. And I was like, wait a minute.
Well,
that's what happens. That's what happens when some loser says, "Come in halfway through the show." That'd be more fun.
Yeah, Patrick just said that he wants to lay you, so you know.
Oh, he felt that. He didn't need to hear that. He
That's
felt
kind
that.
of true. That's kind of
He's like,
true.
kind of.
I have some comments.
Well, we've not even started yet, Jay.
No, I mean about your guys' previous topic because I've been watching, and I got to say I did thoroughly enjoy the Falcon and Winter Soldier this morning. I thought it was probably one of the. I'm with Chaz on this one. I did like this one a little bit better than WandaVision, hands down. And I am happy that there was not a 7-minute ending. It was just the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then credits. Boop.
And were the credits slow or were they fast? I can't remember.
Faster than WandaVision.
Yeah, to me they were kind of moderate. But here's the thing: I like the fact that they touched on Sam's family, and they're showing not just what it is like to be like a vet or something like that in the bank and stuff like that, but they also kind of touched on that as being black in America, because the skin color does kind of make a big difference nowadays when you're trying. That
definitely feels like a theme that they're going to go through with.
Right, but I mean, they also mentioned that in WandaVision with Rambo, and then they're doing the same thing here. They're just trying to bring awareness to it, and I can get where they're going with that. I really can. So, but overall, I liked it. I do like Bucky's interaction with the therapist. Is probably one of my favorite scenes. I also like the action in between all that. This is a spoiler review, right? I can spoil this one or no?
Well, Jay, before you finish spoiling it, let me introduce our next guest. You can catch her on the radio waves and now in the TV waves. It is Val. What is up, Val? You motherfucker!
What an introduction.
Oh my god, that is
I like
so
that because I don't
perfect.
usually get the squares. I usually have to be like,
Whoops.
wow.
Have we hit 10 minutes? Oh, we hit 10 minutes. We can say swears. It's fine.
Fair enough.
How are you, Val? It's so good to have you on.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I see that Boba Fett helmet. It looks so good in the background.
It's a
You have a really good background.
Oh, it's getting there. I have moved everything from my storage unit in, all the nerdy stuff is in this room right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw my office before because you and I worked together, and I had this huge office, and now I have this smaller room. I also have dogs fighting in the other room, so I've got like 70 posters, movie things, and it's falling apart, but it's almost there. It'll be there.
That's what everybody's been saying about Snyder Cut.
I can't get that to say straight, but I think it's okay because I don't know that it's supposed to. It's dented. And be a little off, right?
I mean, it just got more and more dented the further along Mando went. I'm so glad to have you on here. We have one more person. We need our flash. We need the person that's been with us through the watch-alongs for BVS and Man of Steel. Give it up for Nate. What's up, Nate?
Booyah!
You're on mute, buddy.
You actually get this. I'll just do it for real that time. How are you, Nate? Are you muted?
You're muted, bro.
He is muted. He's
Unmute
kind
yourself,
of
my
exactly
boy.
how I wanted the villains to be in the Snyder Cut, just muted or erased the entire movie.
Jeez.
Wow. I have come in and I feel personally attacked, and that wasn't even about me.
I'm
Damn.
feeling it.
That was like, gloves are off, motherfuckers.
I threw him off today when I was on Good Things Utah, and I said that the villains in the Snyder Cut are the worst villains in superhero movie history. So,
Whoa.
Oh my gosh,
Whoa.
the haymakers, throwing haymakers, and we've not even begun this.
She was throwing that straight off the bat.
So I
don't mess around.
Apparently.
Thanks everybody.
Plus, I've been up for a really long time, so it's just gonna be craziness.
Well, if
Hey,
you
more
spent
fun.
4 hours watching a movie, you definitely have at least invested enough time to, at the end, be a little out of it, going back into the real world. Because we talked about, we got to see Zack Snyder's Justice League, folks. It actually exists. First of all, it's real. It happened. And Chaz, it was pretty good, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, actually.
Oh my god.
I know.
What's happening right now?
I
Oh,
was
man.
I was talking so much shit on this movie when it was like, coming up to it. I'm like, dude, it's gonna be worse than like the original. Like that's just what it's gonna be. It looks like I ate my words because I like this more than I
Chaz,
thought I
I'm
would.
eating my words too, so you're not alone. I went on 3 panels at FanX Comic-Con on the air on many podcasts and said, how possibly could the Snyder Cut make this any better? Like, it's just going to be a bigger piece of poo.
Mhm.
And I'm eating my words a little bit as well. So
That's
Well, because now we know where the poo came from, and we know its backstory, and we know.
listen, I think there was a lot of poo slinging from every action and angle of this movie. I don't think there's one person we can blame, except for the person that decided yet again, whoever wrote the villain story in this
Chris
movie,
Terrio.
Interesting.
he
Same guy did Rise of
needs
Skywalker.
some help. I don't like it. I liked a lot of other things about it, but am I the only one that just thinks that it wasn't fleshed out enough? This story that I don't know that I actually know. I could not care less about the villain and the villain arc and if you were to take the villain totally out of this movie and have them fighting with a green screen, it would be a better movie.
Which is essentially what they did.
But show us the green screen. I don't need it. Just show them like trying to save the world. Are they saving it from Cheerios? Great. That's even better. It doesn't matter to me who this is.
Well, here was the tough part with this, because we saw this 2017 version, and I don't know if anybody else felt this way. Like, of course, you look at the film on its merits of what it is, right? But this is such a unique circumstance where we've already gotten this film years before. And is it fair to compare it to that version when you're looking at criticizing like the stuff? Do people like this villain more only because it's not what that version was in 2017? There's just a little bit more character arc, but it's still not overall a good villain, like Valerie's saying. They're just basing it off, well, at least it wasn't what 2017 was. What do you think, Nate?
See, and I would disagree. I actually enjoyed Steppenwolf's character arc. Having a reason to be on Earth outside of just he's there to take over the planet, like, it actually gives him a reason to be searching. I enjoyed the fact that you got to see his story arc. You really got to see a bit of Darkseid's story arc where you got to see his past. I thought they set it up really well, and I was actually invested in Steppenwolf. I almost like cheered for him a little bit as he was like conquering Earth because of it. Like,
What?
Yeah, dude, like I actually really enjoyed Steppenwolf. Like,
Well, dude, you don't root for him, Nate. You don't start rooting for it.
That's not true, Patrick, because in the MCU, don't tell me there was not a moment in the last 3 MCU movies where you weren't like, okay, I'm kind of feeling what's going on here. The snap might be a good thing. I understand why I'm feeling Thanos a little bit. So I get that, Nate. But this is the thing. I feel like Steppenwolf and Ben Solo should go cry like a whiny bitch fest together somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I really just feel like he was throwing tantrums.
Which, I mean, he was. Like, let's be fair, but that's all that he was meant to do. Like, he's basically the Zuko at that point. He's there seeking redemption. Like, it follows a very, very similar story arc, actually. Minus
was Emperor's
the end,
Groove?
But still, no. Zuko.
I thought you said Cusco.
No,
Zuko. It would have been so much better with Cusco.
I was like, isn't Zuko from like Avatar: The Last Airbender? Am I right about that?
No.
And I want your feet too.
He's looking for redemption, trying to get back. Like, yeah, I can buy into that story. I have no problem with it.
But did you feel like that he started at a 10? Like, I mean, like that whole Amazon scene was like really badass, right? I mean, he was just slaughtering them left and right. I'm like, dude, this guy's a nightmare. But then, like, within 15 minutes of that happening, he went from a 10 to like a 3, and he remained at that 3 for the rest of the movie. And I'm like, he's not going anywhere. Like, I just felt like
when Superman showed up and just slapped him silly, like he could not even put up his hands even once against Superman.
How intentional is that though? Because you're essentially setting up at that point. You start out with, you have this badass character. You have to start out big, and then you have to also make him believably defeatable. So if you just set him up where he doesn't drop down a little bit, or you don't get both sides of that, right? Like you're either going to have him crush them, or he's just not even a valuable opponent. So I think that for what they were trying to do balancing act wise, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, especially with the previous version. Like, they actually set it up to where it makes sense.
Yeah, but that's an awful review for a movie. That's like going to your favorite restaurant and ordering your favorite meal and being like, well, I mean, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It was still, I don't want to eat it. Like, what are you serving me? Like, give me something better. This is the thing about the Snyder cut that was really awesome. The last 35 minutes blew my mind. Like, I want to see that movie. This movie should have also been 3 movies. If you would have cut this into 3 movies with a better arc of these characters, I would have you could have spoon-fed me this shit and I would have paid for it at the movie theater at least 5 times. Yeah. But I feel like anytime you get a director, and Joss Whedon, if you're going to have anybody take over your film, Joss Whedon's not a bad pick, especially because of his track record with, MCU. But anytime you have that happen where somebody comes in and they take over your film, it's going to be discombobulated. And then you have 5 years in between when your film came out and now you can release it. That's like giving Quentin Tarantino full rights on editing. Like, you don't do that. You need him to have an editor, because if not, his films are shit. So like, I just feel like he tried to shove every Die Hard 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 like in this film, where I think if he just would have stood back for a minute and he would have said, okay, but what do I really want to say? Because there were some parts from the original movie, the 2017 film, that he didn't need to keep in there, but he did. Like, we still would have understood, but he kept them in there and it kept the movie bloated, where there were some amazing moments. Like, I love how we got to learn more about the Flash. I love how we got to learn more about Cyborg. Like, that to me, I was like, yes, like, make me care about these characters that I like. I don't want them to die.
Well, I mean,
with
that, we also got a chance to learn what happened before the Aquaman movie as well. So,
Mira with an English accent suddenly.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Whatever. Well, it was just weird.
They're
Zack's
setting that one up to replace her. I'm calling that now. The reason she has an accent is because they're setting it up to replace her.
Because Emilia Clarke has an accent, maybe?
Yep. If it's going to happen, they're setting it up so that it can, just in case it does. They're setting it up so it can.
I've heard there's some contractual things that they can't back out of her contract, they can't get rid of her role either in the character. But that's a whole other thing. Nate, you opened up another can. Close that can, Chaz.
I was gonna say, I'm like, wasn't the shot before that though? Like, so is there any?
That's fair. That's fair. I'm just throwing out.
Let me ask you a question. Let me complain about one thing with Aquaman. I hated the bubble. if you know that James Wan's film already exists, you know the world is different now, you got to adjust to that world. Like when you make the bubble thing, it really annoyed me because it was like they're not doing an Aquaman 2 the way that you're doing this.
Yeah.
You've got 90 million
but then
that you were just given to you. Put it into fixing that part too, not just this.
But that's my question. What do you think they actually fixed then and reshot and added compared
to
the
Leto stuff?
Did that that felt tacked on too?
Because I thought there was a timeline where he was actually reshooting and editing all the way up into 2001 because then he had time. Because they were going to release it, then they pulled it, and then he did some more reshoots. That's the problem. Is like all of us would fail at something if it was like, oh, you can go. Sorry, my dogs. You can go do that again. You can go add more. You can go. Do that. Like the good thing about having a time stopping moment or like a budget stopping moment is that it makes you articulate your story more.
Right.
But he had a really long time. And I feel like the parts that he did extend, like Jay said, and like Nate said, where we got to get some backstory was great. So take out the stuff from the first one that's just bloated and unnecessary.
Well, they said that, what was it? Joss Whedon only used 20% of Zack Snyder's actual footage, and then it was 90% new footage for this particular movie. You can easily increase that number. I mean, why?
Those percentages don't work.
Yeah. I'm not good at math, but I know that doesn't.
I'm not good at math, and that didn't work.
So Joss Whedon only used like 20% of Zack Snyder's footage, but Zack Snyder used 90% new footage. So we're on two separate math points at that point.
But it felt like the same movie in some ways.
I'll find the article and send it. I don't.
Well, here's the thing. What I was surprised with is that Joss Whedon did do quite a bit in line with what they were doing with Zack Snyder's. Like, I was very surprised. Some things actually were like shot for shot in like very little moments. But like, let's talk about the origin stories of these new characters, because we did get so much more out of Barry Allen and Cyborg, and really like Cyborg. Everybody has seen all of Ray Fisher's stuff, and of course we stand with Ray Fisher, but you really could only just be as angry as you could be without knowing exactly just what they took out. When you see what they took out of this movie, it doesn't just feel like they're trying to do it for a time constraint. It seems intentional, and it seemed like it was trying to hurt the overall quality of the film. And with them getting rid of Iris West as well as Ron Choi, he ends up being Adam at the end of this movie. He was going to be a superhero. So what happened with that? Cyborg was incredible. Anybody go.
Cyborg was incredible.
Yeah, I think Cyborg was probably my favorite part of like the main edition of the film, not the last 30 minutes, but kind of that main chunk. Is I was kind of like waning in the middle, and then as they started bringing his story forward, I got excited again about characters, about learning about characters. And I think my biggest issue with this movie from the beginning is that I think that DC and Warner Brothers in making these films, and I'm talking about kind of the last three movies that they made, including this one, is that they kind of have an identity crisis and they don't really know what they want to do. Whereas in the Christian Bale movies, they had a plan. Like they knew with three movies what they were going to do. Then they kind of shit their pants when Marvel Cinematic Universe started shooting out all these movies that were all intertwining and putting out all these characters. They were like, we need to catch up. Don't make somebody else's movie. Stick to, I mean, DC, you know what you're doing. Like we've seen it before. And I just think they had an identity crisis, and now they still have one because we have this film, but then we have the Batman coming up. We had Joker. Like none of these movies work with each other. When I've had other conversations with people about the Snyder Cut that are not nerds like you and I, they don't understand. They don't know how to connect these timelines. So 3% of the watching people that are us nerds understand, and we just want to get us all. Bring me every Batman movie you want to make. Great, I'll watch it. But the 90% of the people that go to watch these films, they're confused. They don't know what's going on. And that's what DC's issue is right now. And that's where Marvel is getting it right. It might be like this formulated whatever, but it's good. That's a good for a reason.
Yeah.
It's working.
It's cohesive. Is the best way to put it.
You know, one of the scenes that Cyborg was in, getting back to Cyborg real quick, was the one where he was driving in a car with his mom at the end of the football game. It brought back a lot of great moments when my mom was alive, and I felt that. It was a real nice pleasure to actually know what happened to Cyborg's mom, why the dad wasn't there, and vice versa. Now, I'm not saying that my dad wasn't there because my dad was always there. I'm just saying that part of, you know, your mom being there for you and fighting for you, that brings back a lot. And it actually made me tear up a little bit because I felt that, you know, and I was very impressed with that scene. It did suck that, you know, they both would not have made it out of that car accident, but yeah, it was a real touching moment. And I do like when Barry Allen first met Bruce Wayne. It still kind of matched up with the 2017 movie in a little bit.
It really did, right?
But it was still funny. I just hope that we're not going to talk about the god awful music that they chose for Wonder Woman, though. Because
whoa!
You just brought it up, so now we got to talk about it.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Before we do that, let me say one more, a couple more things about Cyborg. I love his theme song. His theme song's beautiful and amazing. The ATM scene is incredible, where he goes in, like they really pitch him as being a Terminator that has internet access. That's terrifying. Why? I don't know why they've never given a Terminator internet access in any of the Terminator films, but
he probably had it. He just didn't need it for anything because he was just shooting people.
He's like, I will take away your 401k.
He will now because he's an old guy.
I will ruin your taxes this year. But when he increases the money and she wins that thing, even when he's walking down the street, though, people still look and are terrified of him. And then later, the dad's motivations, specifically when he's at Star Labs and they just finished getting Superman, they're going actually just before reanimating Superman. He is leading the team walking into Star Labs, and his father is watching his son, who he didn't know whether bringing him back was the right move or not. Like he says that in the tape recorder. I had no idea if this would be right or not, but I know that you have the potential to be great. And seeing him lead the charge, oh man, I think that's why he felt it was okay to die at that point, because he was like, my son has reached the level I need.
I have to be honest, and I might sound a little racist, but they kind of did the black thing where his dad looks at him, he looks back, and they're like,
Is that a thing?
It is a thing.
Okay.
If you ever see two black people passing by each other, especially men, you'll see it.
Okay.
I do it too. I'm like,
So here's the thing, though. I don't know much about Cyborg comic book wise. So what I got left with was Joss's version, right? And I'm like, yo, dude, Cyborg sucks. Like, I don't know what's the hype with him. Like, he's probably the most useless character of the Justice League from that movie, right? And then this movie, like you said, definitely reinvented him. And it was actually really intimidating because when was it Wonder Woman first finds him, you know, he's like, what do you want, Diane? And I was just like, whoa, dude, you know her name? Like, if somebody's like, hey, Chaz, what do you want? I'm like, who are you? Like,
I think it showed that he was at their level, because usually when you bring in a character like that, you like all the top level superheroes know everything about everyone else, and then when you bring in him and like Flash and other like just a step down one, they kind of don't know everything. And so it showed that he's at the same level as Wonder Woman, and then we find out he's actually like he's like what I got out of it is like Professor X, he can get in and he can find all of the mutants and he can see what they're doing and he can go back and forth. But Cyborg can actually then like manipulate real-time actions. He can get in, he is beyond, like, it was the right time to bring him out. And yeah, I'm really sad they didn't do it in 2017. But again, he is my favorite part of this film because, you know, like Jay said, you have feelings there. When he has to go and look at both of his parents and he's standing there in his regular human form and they're like, you can be with us. You can be in this form again. I'm like, oh, it's a trap, you know, because you know it is. But at the same time, you're like, what is he feeling? Because like he's looking at his parents. And if you've ever lost a parent, like Jay, I've lost my mom too. And how they actually got us to feel something in these moments in between all of the steel and the shiny and the, you know, just kind of, I think really, I don't know, doctor's office kind of feel of this movie that it gets sterilized. I really liked that. And I liked it when they did it with the Flash as well, like with him and his dad that's in jail. Like you had those moments that pulled me more into the film. And I feel like they didn't have those before. I think that that was real. Those moments were what kept me watching this for 4 hours.
Right.
What felt the slowest to everybody? What chapter felt like it was the most kind of like chore to get through?
2.
Yeah, I slept through 2 and I had to wake up and then rewind.
I'm just kidding.
Did you guys watch the 2017 before watching this version? Did you go in and do that?
I watched this version, then went 2017, then watched it again.
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago I did 217, and then I watched this one twice, and then today I watched Batman versus Superman just to kind of
Ultimate cut, right?
Yes. Cool. Just to kind of get it together. And you know what? I don't hate that movie as much as I used to because it leads into something that doesn't suck as much as you know, like it's really crazy how much your opinion can change about something when it leads into something better.
You know, the next time we have a watch party, we need to make sure we have Val there with us.
Yeah.
If she's available.
So
if she's down to be that sweaty with us, I do it because I figure you guys are all gross enough like me to just sit sluggishly for 3 hours.
I want to say something.
I
hope it doesn't offend anyone. I sweat like Whitney Houston. I need a towel boy just on like a regular moment. So I'm all for sweaty.
No,
we will start a GoFundMe for Val's towel boy.
I'm pretty sure I could get one for free.
There you go.
Real quick,
I'll do it. What the hell?
Can I address a plot hole in the
wait,
Anti-Life?
Wait, hold on. I just wanted to say one main criticism: the fucking aspect ratio, dude.
Okay.
I knew that was coming.
What the hell was that?
I'm still pissed about it, man.
Like, you get used to it after a while, but at the same time, it's always in the back of your head. What's with the aspect ratio? Why? Why is it necessary?
Nate, you don't want to have a little bit more of this and a little bit more of this?
No. I don't care.
Okay. But it shows so much more.
It didn't really bother me.
Let me point out the scene specifically that I'm referring to,
because it definitely didn't bother me.
Yeah.
After a while, you get used to it, as I said. But,
like 3 hours into it.
Yeah, 3 hours in. But during the scene where
so
Steppenwolf is taking on the Amazon warriors, the entire time you're seeing their arms come in and out of the frame, like. I want to see the follow through. I want to see this shot. Like, don't jit me out of half the angle here, man.
It wouldn't be any wider for you though. Like the picture won't widen itself out. It
wouldn't cut off anymore.
So Nate, I'm just gonna say this. You may have a chance within the next 30 to 60 days to see this film on a big screen in Utah.
Oh, snap.
That's
IMAX. Then you'll see IMAX. But if it's an IMAX, then you'll see it in its glorious thing.
You can't tell me that's
yeah, here's the thing. Here's my counterpoint to that, because they said it was to keep the integrity of IMAX. Like they wanted like that little whatever. But like if you ever watch Christopher Nolan movie, he's famous for the aspect ratio changes throughout the movies. Especially on like the Dark Knight Blu-ray. When it goes full screen, that's the IMAX camera. Then when it goes back to widescreen, you know they're shooting on a different camera. That's not IMAX. So why could they not just shoot this one like in that same way? Because I don't ever recall a Dark Knight being aspect ratioed when it was a IMAX shot, you know?
No, I think what they were trying to do was he was trying to keep it as his vision, and that's what he shot it as. You know what I mean? So he wanted to keep to the true Zack Snyder vision of what he wanted to do.
They do say that. It does specifically say Zack Snyder's vision, not IMAX.
Yeah. I did not.
Stop being Star Wars fans and just be happy that you got what you wanted.
There you go.
Got the Snyder cut. Stop bitching about it.
And it's not just the Snyder cut. It's the Snyder cut that's good.
Ooh, that's some good push.
Seriously.
It is good. I would actually rank, like, I know I didn't get the whole intro y'all got, what you guys talked about before, but I actually thoroughly enjoyed this. This is one of my favorite superhero movies. Like, it really is. It was, I loved it. So, Yeah.
Plot hole involving the history lesson, which was great, by the way. History lesson was really fun. So Lord of the Ringsy, it was ridiculous. And Darkseid was so cool. He got real bloody, and I liked that blood.
Oh yeah, man, that was crazy seeing Darkseid take an axe like that. It's so reminded me of Thanos taking an axe.
Right? But here's the plot hole with it. So he discovers anti-life is right there, right? Mother boxes stayed on that planet. And then he just forgets. Darkseid just forgets on that planet has anti-life, that it has the mother boxes. Steppenwolf has just been kind of going around, and he's like, "We'll get the mother boxes here." And then he literally trips and then hits his hammer on the ground, and it's like, "Oh, anti-life's here," and then comes back. But wouldn't Darkseid have known this? And he can't be like, "Well, he was unconscious, he was knocked out." Those mother boxes are expensive. How many are you losing? You would know where one of them is.
Right. So not necessarily.
You ever lose an AirPod? You ever lose an AirPod, Nate? It's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, sure.
But
the fact of the matter is, though,
you don't send your uncle to do it.
You lose that and it's gone, right? You lose an AirPod and it's gone.
Unless you have Find My iPhone.
Unless you have Find My... So let's just say he just doesn't have Find My iPhone enabled. He didn't think he'd ever lose the boxes, so he didn't think to figure it out. The Sears are also dead.
Pretty sus when they're like, that's technology so powerful that it's
and
magic.
Then they go to sleep and stop calling out for him. If he's just going world to world, he doesn't fucking know where he is. He's just destroying whatever's in front of him. He doesn't know. Suddenly he's back on his home planet and he's just like, shit, well, where the fuck were we? I gotta go find these boxes now. Then everything happens with Steppenwolf and they stumble upon it. It makes total sense. I don't know what you're talking about.
Can I just say, I love when Nate goes on a rant.
I just did my taxes. Like, I'm done now.
Right. It's great.
I'm very aware of where my brain is and how my brain works, and that I go on rants. I'm very aware of
I love it.
I love you, partner.
So,
I just want
to point out, why did they not take out the little portal thing that what's his name, Steppenwolf or whatever, like, transports himself with? You know, he's like, oh, I got another box, I'm out. Like, why did they not destroy that right from the get-go?
It's
so he can't escape.
Not a
physical. And when you use an Omega beam, you got to use an Omega beam all the time. So that boom tube opens. So why doesn't he just be like, "Oh, you killed Steppenwolf, Omega beam, all of you"? But he just kind of stood there, and they all had like a gunslinger stare down, and then the portal closed.
Like, you coming over here or what? Let's do this.
Okay, think about what happened when Steppenwolf dies, though, right? He
goes naked.
First thing that happens is Darkseid steps on his head. He did not give a shit what happened to Steppenwolf there. He was not about to step in. He did not care. That's the only thing I'm going to say about why they didn't collide. Darkseid did not care.
Yeah, but if you didn't know
Anti-Life is there, and he did
Darkseid doesn't care about Steppenwolf, you're not paying attention. Again, Steppenwolf is just a pawn, and he needs leg day. He needs leg day. Like, his upper body is this, and then his lower body and his teeny tiny little butt. Like, he needs leg day.
I remember Desaad at the end when the minute Steppenwolf was crushed and the portal closed, Desaad looks at Darkseid and is like, "Hey, I told you this guy was going to be a wreck and he was going to ruin this." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess you did." And they just are like, "All right, we'll deal with this later."
We'll do this the old way, he says.
He's a throwaway villain, and that's why I don't care about him.
So whose armor did you like better? Did you like Justice's version, or did you like Zack Snyder's version?
No question, Snyder's.
Snyder.
I've seen some pushback on it on Twitter.
What?
I understand the pushback, but the fact that they made it basically utility to have those, like, if it served no other purpose than just to look cool, it makes sense why everyone would bash on it. But it had a purpose. It was chopping things up. It was keeping him protected. I was fine with it. You got the blades that came out to add even more damage. Like,
what about Flash? Can you talk some Flash?
I think
it was real pretty. I'll give the 4K.
That ending with him reversing time is one of the greatest comic book scenes ever put to screen. That reverse time scene is incredible.
Thank you for saying that, because that just pretty much could have opened it up for everything for Flashpoint. And
yes,
I was hoping that, all right, cool. He's actually doing the Flashpoint. I also liked when he was going around the Chernobyl part area of everything, and he's like, I can't hold this, but you can tell that he was really opening up that speed. I also liked the scene where he was like, "You think that Diana would like a guy like me?" every guy is like she's like 5,000 years old, so
everyone's a younger guy.
But it wasn't like I'm gonna fall on her chest. It was like I'm gonna be sweet and ask a simple innocent question and not be horrible.
Yeah, who told him the answer to that though? Was it Cyborg or was it Aquaman?
It was Aquaman.
Cyborg. He was like she's 5,000 years old, Barry.
Oh.
I like how he said Barry, like he's answered this question multiple times.
Right.
And like he's still going, like, do you think she'll have a chance with me? And he's like, just stop. Or when Aquaman is they're on the base and they're trying on hats and Flash is like, what about this hat? Because option 2. And then he puts the other one on and he's like, go back to option 1. And Momoa always dressed in a nice scarf and throwing his shirts everywhere.
Yeah. It was like he was a dirty
Lord
house
have
rat.
mercy.
That was intentional. That was
Pick this
good.
up, Slave.
I like that.
What was the fangirl moment when the girl like picks up the sweater and she's like smelling it?
We were singing an Iceland song. Hey,
It was a creepy moment. Like if they would have had a guy do that about like Diana's anything, like that's all we would be talking about right now. It'd be hashtag like Me Too Diana's sweater. Like, but no, you can have some Icelandic like Heidi picking up some disgusting yellow sweater that probably smells like fish ass and like beer.
Right?
Yeah.
Been in the ocean.
Like,
he doesn't smell good.
He doesn't. I mean, we don't care. I am going to admit to that. We don't. He smells like a manfish. Like, and we want it, but. That was just a creepy moment that didn't need to be. Again, like bloated moments. More moments like the hat moment. That was great. More human moments, not creepy moments. We don't
caring about Cyborg was really impactful. He hated Cyborg, it seemed like, in the Justice League. But for him to be like, hey, is he okay? We're asking this kid that just lost his father to go to war. And then Flash is like, I thought you didn't care. And then for him to be like, I didn't say that. That was... Oh my gosh, so important.
Yeah, I thought at one point he flipped the script when he said that too, because at first he's like, how do we know we can trust you? And then he's like,
I'll tell you. You ever heard of the Nazis?
But I mean, he kind of had his father moment too. Like he had this moment where he's like, all right, I need to stop being this person and I need to go see my dad and I need to like really. So I think we all have those moments in our lives where we're like, I've got my own crap going on. And so whatever, but then you realize, oh yeah, some people probably are going through the same stuff I am or worse. And so he did. It showed that he had those moments, but it still shows that he's got to keep his guard up because he is who he is,
Can we also shed light on the Amazons and like the arrow that she went and snuck and picked up and found inside the cave to get all the information? And I believe that was part 2.
Her Tomb Raider sequence.
Yeah, her Tomb Raider sequence. I thought that was super creative for him to add that in there to give, for her to give Bruce Wayne the context of what is actually going on.
This is where she learned. She didn't grow up with stories about Darkseid. Like she actually had to learn it at that point.
Right, and I actually wish that they went, if they were going to go into like more of an origin story to Cyborg and Flash, they should have did that for like a little bit for Diana as well, because technically this movie did take place before the first Wonder Woman, didn't it?
Did it?
So
no, I think Wonder Woman.
First Wonder Woman, because that's where she leaves.
This didn't take place before World War I.
Wait, what?
Are you talking about when it was released?
Yeah.
You're talking about
the first Wonder Woman
talking
movie.
about released.
Didn't that come out before Justice League?
You know what? We have the interweb.
It came out in November 2017.
Which one? Wonder Woman?
Justice League. November.
Okay,
2017.
when did Wonder Woman come out?
Wonder Woman was in the summer.
So it did come out before.
So it came out before. Okay, never mind then.
Boom.
Can we talk about so in Batman versus Superman, it's all about the Jeep, man. And then in this movie, it's all about a freaking Mercedes-Benz everywhere.
The product placement in this movie.
I get what it is.
But still intense. Oh my god.
But for me, like I love superhero vehicles, right? And so I love Batman vehicles, and then you give him this like Real Housewife of Beverly Hills Batman vehicle. I mean, it was pretty, but can it do anything?
Actually, no, it can't. It can only
Isn't it a
like turn.
prototype?
It was a prototype that they had to scrap after the movie. but
Did they
wanted-
really? That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Well, they
That's over my head.
they did the same thing in Triple XA the Union for the Shelby prototype as well.
So
They had to
did,
destroy it.
did anybody else catch the fact that
That's
the
a parallel.
Mercedes blew past a Charger on its way out with Barry the
Yeah,
first time?
I did see that too.
How intentional do you actually think that was? I'm not saying they're throwing shade, but they might be throwing shade.
They're
at the,
throwing shade.
like,
Oh,
oh my
And I'm
goodness.
really happy that a Mercedes would outdo a Charger. I think that'd be rad.
What do
Yeah.
you think of Bruce Wayne in this now? I think Bruce
Love
Wayne
him.
got a glow up from 2017, and he got redemption too. I was very pleased with Ben
He got a
Affleck.
lot of different hair colors in this film.
Yeah.
I don't know if
A
I'm the
lot of
only one that
size,
knew.
too.
But I was
Yeah.
like,
Very
okay,
skinny.
in this
He also
one, you're
sounded a lot more
50,
human.
and in this one, you've got a hair color of like a 40-year-old. You know, like there was a lot of different hairstyle
Especially the end
colorings.
scene.
I don't know if he just
Mhm.
keeps a person at his home to do that in between saving the world, but
I mean, if you have the money, wouldn't you change your hair up pretty regularly?
I already do, and I don't
There you
even have
go.
the money. So yeah,
There
I
you
get
go.
it.
I mean,
I get it. I get it.
Don't
If
get
I
me
change
wrong.
up my hair, I will be
Same.
bald.
Patrick,
That's my only change.
So to go to your question, I liked how at the end when we see all the superheroes, utilizing their powers, Batman's the only one that doesn't have like a superpower, right?
No, but he's doing the right stuff though.
But
He's
I
taking
know,
out everybody
that's-
around.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That they did well balancing how he would actually be utilized in that because he was still taking charge, giving commands, but causing diversions, I guess, if you will, so that the big boys could go in there and like actually fuck shit up
Mhm.
while he's still out and about. I like how they balance that because of all the Batman movies we've seen, we actually haven't like not like live action Batman, right? Like we've never been able to see how he'd be utilized with other superheroes.
Mhm.
And supervillains in that sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I get that. I mean, just to kind of expand on that, they do a really good job of separating out Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yeah.
Like Batman
good
is
call, Nate.
very, very heavy, hardcore hitting, and Bruce Wayne is very cool, calm, relaxed. He is calculated, and you get to see the split in that. And I thought it was beautifully done. Beautifully done.
I also thought so too. I was just getting ready to say, like, his character development seemed a lot more human, when it needed to be. And
But let's
when
talk
he needed to
about-
get dark. He got
But let's
dark.
talk about the nightmare sequence, the final shot of it all.
God.
We need to talk about Jared Leto coming back. A lot of people are lying and saying, "Oh, this was the greatest Joker performance ever put to screen."
No,
Oh my
no,
gosh,
no.
can't wait to
Who's
see
saying
more.
that?
And they're liars.
Nate.
No.
This is
Bear
the
with
thing. I
me.
like it, but who's saying it's the best
It
one
was
ever put to screen?
Nate.
No, I did not
No,
say
he
that.
didn't say it. Don't
No,
give that to
no.
Nate.
It was not one of the best performances, but it was one of the best interactions. Let's be honest here. Them throwing shade about Robin and Harley Quinn was one of the best Batman interactions because it brought back the "You Need Me," the whole spiel from oh god, I'm
The Dark Knight.
Dark
But
Knight.
the way it was
No.
written, it was like
Specifically.
I'm gonna give you a reach
You're
around.
talking
and-
Killing Joke.
Killing
Joke. I'm talking Killing Joke.
Oh, Killing Joke.
Okay, so I'm talking the "You Need Me." We're in this together. We're stuck together. We're bonded now, right? So you get to see that, but at the same time, they are just brutal to each other. That was the most vicious word exchange I've actually seen in a DC movie, and it was
And
And that's what I
hearing
want to
Batman
see.
wasn't the
cuss,
best though.
Yeah, hearing Batman cuss was like, oh shit.
I'll
Right?
fucking
Yeah.
kill you, dude. I was
Let me
like,
get a
"Shit,
job here,
dude.
fuck.
I like Jared Leto's Joker. I
That
liked.
one. Yep.
I was really upset when we
Yep.
got him.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Yep.
when we got him in Suicide Squad, and we like
Release
heard
the
there was-
Ire cut.
You could.
Well, so I'm like, okay, we're getting him as Joker in Suicide Squad. Awesome. I watched the movie and we get 2 minutes of him. And I know they shot like hours of footage and we get 2 minutes of him and everybody's like, that's the worst Joker ever. Well, yeah, because you don't even know what he's doing. This is the thing about Joker and why I love DC and Batman and Joker. It's dark. Joker is a freaking mess. He is a megalomaniac. He is a sociopath. And then we get movie Joker that shows us, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's so dark. Yeah. Have you read any of the comics? He's
yeah.
dark. So when I found out he was going to be in it, and then his scene comes up and he's just like gross, and he could tell he's going through things, and then he turns and looks, and I'm like, okay, like this is the Joker Batman that I have been waiting for a long time. Because I like Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, whatever, that's fun, but Joker is like the worst villain around, and we haven't gotten to really see that. We've seen it in a comedic way, but I want to see Batman use Joker, and then I want to see them almost both kill each other after they've used each other to get what they want.
Wasn't that the Dark Knight though?
No. We're
Mm.
talking one step above and beyond.
Taking the next step.
Okay? We are taking
Take the mommy goggles off. Dark Knight was great, but let's really like get into the story. Less about cinematography, less about pleasing, and let's get into the gritty darkness of who Joker is and why Batman really does need him, and how they're nothing without each other, but they end up killing each other. I want to see that.
They talked about that in the Dark Knight though at the very end.
They talk about it, but I haven't seen it. Show it to me. Give it to me. Stop teasing me.
Oh my god, nope.
What we're saying, Chaz, is we did not get, even with the snippet that we got at the end, we have not seen enough of the Joker to know this character enough to say that he's good or bad. So, as far as we're concerned, this new interaction that we've been introduced to is that dark and gritty that we want. So, is it the best Joker? No. Could it be? Absolutely.
It's like a little taste, a little Sam's Club taste test of what it could be.
I'm so biased against Jared Leto though, so this is my Jared bias. Like
it could be that. I have a little of it too.
Why? What do we have against Jared Leto?
Dude, let me give you an example. He's such a
and I want your feet too.
He plays like the perfect role for him is that in like Blade Runner 2049, where he just plays this egotistical douche. That's Jared Leto to a T.
That's his personality. I don't want to see him playing his personality.
I can't see him otherwise.
I want to see him doing other things.
I'll send you a list of other movies that you should watch.
I joined his religion.
He's great.
Fight Club.
No.
Fight Club.
Dallas Buyers Club.
You don't get to see enough of his acting range in that, though. You don't get to see Jared Leto act. He's just a pretty face.
The Little Things.
Mr. Nobody.
The Little Things are awful.
I like that one. That's the thing. I like that movie.
Chaz, okay, Chaz, I need you to define this for me.
How do you get a job here?
Hey, don't
I think he was great in it.
Wait, what?
Oh no.
What is your favorite movie?
You broke Nate, dude. Nate's gonna kill you.
What is your movie?
Arrival.
Oh shit.
You
Arrival?
Your favorite movie is Arrival?
Movie.
Dude, I haven't got a tattoo.
And this... Okay, I don't know if I can take you as a... Okay.
Whoa!
Okay.
You malfunctioned his brain, Chaz.
I'm just trying to get a better...
Nate, what's your favorite movie?
What just happened?
Nate, what's your favorite movie?
What I'm trying to do, and I will answer that, but... What I'm trying to do is get a baseline for what Chaz actually likes. I have yet to hear him say that he thoroughly enjoyed a movie.
Dude, check out my letterbox. What are you talking? Check out my letterbox.
Yeah, he writes a sentence and calls it a review.
Oh, okay. I get it. I get you, Chaz.
I had fun watching
this. Arrival, Interstellar.
Reviewed.
Name it, yeah.
This had great cinematography. Reviewed.
However,
moving on.
To answer the question, I'm a Dark Knight fan.
That's your favorite movie.
I like that movie too.
Dark Knight.
I like that movie.
Always
there you go.
Do we all have movie tattoos on us?
Actually,
I am tatless.
Into the Spider-Verse. My Miles Morales.
Love that.
That is very here. Let me zoom. Hold on.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Oh,
that
wow.
is wicked. That is wicked.
I can't torque in that.
Bend your elbow and
I can torque with something else in that direction, but not my arm. Never tried to contort my arm that way.
Well, there's so much more that we could be talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League because it's 4 hours. There's everything. Is there any final stuff?
Yes. My biggest complaint with casting would actually be Flash's dad.
Yes.
and he's already being recast.
I really like him. Why
Because-
don't you like him?
Have you seen Watchmen, which is another DC movie? It's a Zack Snyder movie, right?
Okay.
Watchmen.
I don't like Watchmen, but have you
in that
seen
movie.
Big Fish?
Hold on,
Right,
Chaz.
okay, but it's not
Anything
DC.
else with him
I'm saying this is DC related. He's in a DC movie with Zack Snyder directing. Like it feels
Chaz,
like it's
Chaz, hold on.
connected, even though it's not.
Have you
but
seen
like,
the
hold on.
MCU and how they just throw people back in things when they've been in other things?
right, but he plays Dr. Manhattan, which is a huge character in Watchmen, and now he's playing Flash's dad. I'm like, okay, why can't you just get a different actor?
Not
Like now
blue,
you're
it's
like,
fine.
Okay, Chaz, hold on. I need to stop you
I
right
get
there. Can I stop Chaz right
Let
here?
it go.
Chaz,
Can you stop me? I don't know.
you said Watchmen, it's a DC comic, as if none of us knew.
Yeah,
I'm
Chad.
connecting it to Snyder. No, I'm connecting it to Snyder. Which, by the way, Watchmen's director's cut is.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Snyder has great director's
you.
cuts. Can we admit that?
Y'all made me upset my dog.
Sure. All right. That was your final thought, Chaz, and you wasted
That was my
it.
final thought.
Jay, what's your final thought? What's your final thought with Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I kind of have to agree with you on this one, Patrick. I gave it a 7 out of 10, or 7.5. I think that's what you gave it out of 10. There are some elements that could change, that they should have changed that they didn't. We already talked about those. But overall, I did enjoy the movie. It definitely was a lot better than the theoretical version, and I've already watched 8 hours of it within the same day. I think I'm right behind you on that one. So so far so good. I would definitely like to see if they're going to bring Zack Snyder back to finish the Snyderverse. Will he direct Green Lantern? Will you know what I mean? Like what's going to happen with that? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
we have to wait and see.
we'll have to. Val, what are your final thoughts of Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I would actually go see this movie in the theater. If it wasn't so bloated with unnecessary nonsense, I would give this movie a B-, but I give it a C because it's way too long and it's way too into itself.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things that I thoroughly enjoyed, and that a fan, like a DC fan, I was like, yes. But then there was a lot of other moments where I fell asleep. So
That's fair.
That's fair. I think C is a fair grade for people that really like even the first one. They're like, I didn't have a ton of fun with some of the stuff. Nate, what was your final thoughts with Zack Snyder's Justice League?
All right. I mentioned earlier, I absolutely love this movie. It's one of my favorites. It does have a few areas where it drags. Some scenes feel long when they don't need to be, and you really could have cleaned that side up. But I feel like 4 hours was an extremely fair amount of time for the movie. Maybe cut it back to 3.5, but I really loved it. I'd give it an 8.5. Really, I absolutely loved this movie, and I went in with kind of a clean palette. I didn't want to go in with expectations at all. So I just went in hoping that it'd be a good movie, and I got my mind blown. I yelled at the TV. So I personally loved it.
Well, being The Dark Knight is your favorite film, it would make sense that this would be one that you enjoyed as well.
Yeah, let's be honest here. I'm a bit biased, just a tiny little bit, though.
Teeny
I feel like I really just feel like we got the Batman we finally deserved out of Batfleck. Like that's the big thing.
I can
That's
agree
good,
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's good. What are your final thoughts, Patrick?
Oh, my final thoughts. I had a good time with this. Here's what I'm relieved with. Nobody attacked anybody on a huge scale. There was no crazy death threats coming around to people. Everybody got to sit here and go, oh wow. It was kind of like when Ben Stiller in Zoolander finally did Magnum, right? And Mugatu is like, oh, it's beautiful. Like, we finally got to see exactly what Zack Snyder was going for with all of his films. And it doesn't make any of the other films any better or any worse, but we get to see where his end game was. And I think that it was very interesting, and it would have gone very differently than the MCU. They were going for a totally different approach. And yeah, second favorite film in the DCU, but that is our thoughts, spoiler thoughts. Thank you everybody for joining in for this. Nate, Jay, always on button mashing. There'll be a new episode next week, but Jay, let's talk about it. Nate at Nate's Legend. Val, check her out. Really, you do everything.
She is everywhere.
But just today, you were doing movie reviews on Good Things Utah. Next week, what are you working on?
So movies that make us, we have, it's March Madness. So we're doing movies that are a little bit off So you can catch those Monday on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. I'm on B98.7 every weekday morning from 5 to 9. I have Multiplane Podcast, which is a Disney podcast. We'll have that on Saturdays. So yeah, just a bunch of stuff.
Very cool. Well, thank you again for coming on. And Chaz, where can people find you and what are you working on? Chaz, why do you look so scared? Did I just yell that too loud? Sorry.
No, you did
Chaz!
not. You know, I have a podcast, Over and Under Artists Exposed. I guess I'm on a hiatus. I'm just doing that whenever I want now.
That's a good thing to do, dude. That's good sometimes.
Yeah, man. But I'm just chilling. You can find me on Twitter and stuff. And check out my letterbox because apparently I hate movies even though I don't. So there's that.
I'm not.
Do an
I've never
episode
heard you
with
say
you,
you like
Chaz.
movies.
We need to do movies we hate podcast, and we just need to talk about every movie we
snap.
don't like.
I would love
Do
to
it.
be part of that.
Girl,
It's gonna be a year-long podcast.
I'm feeling it.
I'm definitely feeling that.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you again so much for watching. Check us out on the Patch Beatty Reviews site, Gaggle of Geeks podcast, Pat Chats, Button Mashing, all the good stuff that we're putting out for all of you. And check out our commentary on Man of Steel and BVS. We worked really hard on those, and they're on the Patreon at patreon.com/Patch Beatty Reviews. Thank you again so much, as always, for watching. Keep calm and gaggle on.